the first paragraph, where it says Kadeh. You see that? Did you, pardon me? Okay. Nothing to drink here. I'm gonna get a drink while you're looking. Okay. Okay, so that paragraph there, we're going to see how what he's doing here. He's doing something different, slightly different. He says, "Kadei la'alos zayin tachtonas the yitzira legar chabad the yitzira." So this is a different situation. So what you're trying to do is that here we're on Erev Shabbos, so this is Kabbalah Shabbos, and so therefore you're trying to move the bottom part, that's the zat of Olam Yitzira up into the gar. So that's really your goal here. Tequila so Tequila Sarak Lakaven Lahotzi Hazayin Shemas de Margolin. I've been looking at this for years, and I know what it is, but I don't know. Why isn't there someplace that says Margolin, and then right next to it tells you the answer, what's going on with the Margolin? But the Margolin apparently are the tool, or I just don't understand it, but that allows this movement upwards. So we're back in the same idea of the mob again. So his Hazayin Shemas de Margolin, Mizayin Osias Shel Akia Yaku. So those are the 221s that we talked about. And when I said that there was the 3 odds, well, that's possible. That's also true. But not possible. It's also true. But here we want to work with these 2 words, Akia and Yaakov. So we have those 2. So we're going to try to combine them into a 42. Shuhu Shem Mab Shebezayin Tachtonas de Bria. So that's the Shem Ma of Olam Abria. So you're talking about, we are in Olam Yitzira, and we're talking about moving the Zat into the Gar. Basically, that's what he's saying. How do you do that? He says by the Yaakov, these 2, Aki and Yaakov, actually refer to Olam Abria, and they're going to pull them. That's what's going to pull them up, I guess. Because the letters Ki Aki, those letters, the Akia, Kasidrim, so you look at them in their order. I'm not sure what that means. Heim Bachachan Bagadate the Chaga de Bria. So I'm better at translating this than I used to be. So they're on the right line, middle line, center line, right line, left line, center line of the parts of called Chagat de Bria. So you're trying to move the Zat of Yitzira up into the Gar of Yitzira, and you do into the Gar, and you're doing this by way of the Chabad Chagat Nai, not Chabad Chagat Nai, it's the Chacham Bagadati, the Chagat, are the parts of called Chagat, which is the middle parts of Olam Abria. The Hey Achrona, then the Hey Achrona, so we're left out with the Hey Machmona, we don't have that, but Malchus refers to Homomedes, but Achrei HaTiferes is on the back of Tiferes. Tiferes is Chagat, I think. For Gimel Osius Yaakov, so those 3 letters which come to 21, Kasidrim, they're in the regular order. Hey Bahachan Bagadati Denai, they're in the Hagat Bag. I guess he means the Nai of Bria, I think. For Ofen Yitzias Hazayin Shemos Hu. So the way that these come out is like this. He says, Karak Lahorid Osius Aki, those letters which we see at the top of this page, Aleph K Yud, which refers to Chesed, Gevurah, and Tiferet, that's Chagat. Let me see if I lost the place. He says, Osius Aki Shebechagat, V'alos Osius Yaakov Shebenai, and to bring out the letters which are the lower section. Let me get this out where I can see it. The lower section, which is Yud K Vov. Yud K Vov is also 21. V'alos Osius Yaakov Shebenai v'hem pogim zer b'zeh, and as a result of moving the Aleph K and the Yud down, by doing that towards the Hey, and moving the Yud, K, and the Vav that's down below, which refers to Netzachod Yisod, the Nai, you're moving the Nai up to the Hey, and the Chesed down in that same direction. So, Pogim Zebazeh, they strike each other, Zebazeh, V'netzutzim, and they cause sparks. We know that from other situations, Umavachim, Meirim ba'os Hey, so they strike and shine into the letter Hey, Achrona shebemalchus, v'yedei kain yotzim azayin shemos, and this is what he says as a result of this fact, and this is what you have to think of, that you got these 7 names come out, which are also called the Margolin. Know that he called Batisha v'chakol hu inyan zivug, and we know that what's happening here is you're causing a zivug between Chagat and Nai into the Hey. It's a little bit obscured, but that's what it is. Then he goes on and explains what's coming up over here. He says Yekavin the Horvid Aleph. So he goes into more specifics. He says to take the idea, the Aleph of Ekia. We have an Ekia at the top, and we have a Havai at the bottom. If you look at it in a certain way. So he says Yekavin the Horid Aleph the Ekia v'la Alos Vav the Yaakov v'shnechem meirim be'ei achrona, and all of the two sections shine into the final Hey. And that's what you have in the middle, is that you're bringing the downwards up and the upwards down into the middle of this Hey. You have to kind of imagine what's going on there. Achrona, Umotziim Bebei Shemos, and the 2 names that you come out with as a result of this are Havaya and Kale. Now, there's no explanation of why they produce these names. I don't think. It's just that's what they do. They make Havaya and Kale, which is on the next page. On the next page, he shows you the Margolin. So Chesed is going to be a Havaya, Gevurah is going to be a Havaya, but it's Menukad with Elokim, and then you have this name Matz. Now Yaakov Cronenberg used to talk about this a lot. This name Matz. What's going on with it? It's actually the Atbash of Yud-K Vav-K. I think we mentioned that yesterday. So these 3 that you see at the top, is one of them represents Chesed, one of them represents Gevurah, and the other one represents Tiferet. That's the Chagat. And then down below that, you see that it also generates 4 other names. Now, in his description, he only counts 6, so I guess I'm not sure why. So he says the Netzach is going to be Matz again. This is another Margolin, Margoli, I guess. And then Hod is going to be Elokim, and then it's going to generate this name, the Yisod, which is Kale, and it's going to be Yak, and Adni is going to be the final one, which is Malchus coming into there. So there's going to be that. So let's see, he has the explanation here. So he says, I think we read that. We'll read it again one more time, this one paragraph. It says, Yekavin lahored Aleph the Ekia v'la'alos Vav the Yaakov v'shnechem meirim behei achrona umotziim bei shemes, which are Havaya and Kale, which we said before refers to, one is Chesed and the other one is Yisod. I have no way of understanding how it's generated. He just says this is a fact, And this is your kavana right here. So he says, Havaya ma'alef de ekya, so the Havaya comes out of the aleph de ekya. L'hachan de chagat, they go to the chachan de chagat, which is the right side of what the Rashash does is he makes partsufim out of spheros, of groups of spheros. So he said the ekya, the hachan de chagat, which would be the right line of the parts of called chagat. The kale would come from the vav, the yako, the vav, so he actually pulls them out of that. So one is ekya, using that aleph. The other one is yako, using the kale comes from the vav of yako, which is coming from down below, the yitzira. So let's see it again. Let's see if we can see it. Then he says, so it's just the process of saying what you're doing. So that's the first thing you're doing, is that you're looking to bring the aleph down to let me see, I forget what I said, what I just said. You're taking the aleph and you're making a kale, and you're taking the vav and you're making a havaya. So he said, let's go to the next one. So then take this idea, take the first hay of ekya, and he said the ekya via Allah hey de yako, and you take the hey de yako, the two hays are going to come together. The shnechem me'irach behe achrona, and because I guess I'm thinking that he means they strike each other, but it could be they strike the hay. I thought that was the idea of the final hay. And they also bring out two names, which are Havaya, two base Shemos Havaya, Benikud Elokim, the Elokim, and the name Elokim itself. So he says, what is that letter? That's the Hey. Hey represents din in one way or another. Havaya Benikud Elokim, he has one, it's Havaya with a Nikud Elokim, Mehe Yishrona de Ekya, Mefe Rishona de Ekya. The Baga de Chagat is going to go down the left line of Chagat. The Shem Elokim Mehe de Yako, and your name Elokim is going to be generated by the Hey of Yako. The Baga deny the Yitzira to the left line of the parts of which is called Nai the Yitzira. So this is basically the confusion that understanding that he's making partsufim out of sets of spheros, that they also have is what the Rashash does. Then he said, yud de ekev ya'alo yud de yako. So this could be your next idea. He says, yud de yako, the shnechem me'irim behe achrona, the two of them shine into the final hay. The motziim be shemos, and it brings out these two names, which are mats. Now I count 6 here. Up above we have Havaya Adni, or Yak Adni also. It doesn't seem to be on this list. Let's go to the next page. So as long as we're doing this, and we'll just see the best we could say. Now, this is the same thing that we have in our night drushes. It's the same thing, except that it's talking about different aspects of partsufim, but it's all talking about the mobs. So he says, we're now on the next page, page Nun Aleph. And Nun Aleph has I'm sorry?
I don't have it.
I didn't send you the second page?
No.
Oh. Give me a second. Let's see, we have time to do that? I don't know, but I got to do it. Let's see, open up. Here's this. You didn't get the second page. Okay, second page coming to you now. How do I do that? I send it to that's at Teams. Okay, Teams. No, that's the wrong one. Okay, back, come on, get out of there. Here it is. Send it again. It's Teams. There it goes. Okay, I sent it to you. Should be in your you got it?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so just to give an idea, because working on the Rashash, I feel more comfortable with it in some ways. And so this is what you're trying to do. The parts of Kol Chagat, you're going to try to bring up its three lines, the Yetzirah that are in Yetzirah. This is the Alos, again, Hachan Bagadati, the Chagat the Yetzirah, the Chagat the Yetzirah, the Hachan Bagadabi, the Chabad the Yetzirah. So you're going to bring, that's the idea, is going to bring everything up to a higher parts of. Now here, you're talking about Erev Shabbos, and you're still not getting to Olam Abriya, but you're getting close. So he said, and that I guess we would pick up if we learn the RASHASH, we would see what's actually happening in the transition as we go to Baruch Hu. So the Chabad. V'hachan bagadati deny the Yitzira. Also, those are going up. The hachan bagadati the Chagat the Yitzira to the next parts of up, which is the parts of the Chagat. So you're moving the bottom 6 or bottom 7. You're moving the Nai and the Chagat up 1. The Gimel Kavi Malchus Nuk the Yitzira, and the 3 lines of Malchus Nuk the Yitzira, the Makom Anai the Yitzira, the place of the Nai the Yitzira. First was in the Malchus of Yitzira, now it's going to move up to the parts of which he calls the Nai of Yitzira. So we have like 3 minutes. I'll do the most I can, and then I'm sorry that I missed the earlier part. Achakachi Omer Boy Kala. So then he says after this, I'm not sure I read this before, but after this you say boy kala. So we understand that you're, for Yekavin, begimel boy, so take a look at begimel boy. What's gimel boy? Gimel boy is the number 13. So he says you're taking 13. The hamshech gimel kavi yamin is small, v'imsoy, the parts of nai. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the 3 lines, the right line, the left line, and the middle line of the parts of the Nai, the Hey Partsufi Chagat, of the 5 Partsufi no Chagat, and understand that we're treating this as a Partsuf, and so therefore it's going to have 5 parts that you could see. The Hey Partsufi Chagat, the Yasos, so you're in a Chagat of Yasos, the Hitzonius, Im hamochin shebechem, of that is the yasos of chitzonius, meaning that there's a chagat of panemius also. Im hamochin shebechem, together with their mochin. Now I don't have time to go through all of this because I messed up the time a little. We have 2 minutes. Is that what it is?
4 minutes.
4 minutes. Okay, I'll just read as much as I can. Try to translate. The Hey Partsufi Chagat the Yasos, so we're going to the 5 Partsufi of the middle parts of Yasos, the Chitzonius, but that part of it which is in the Chitzonius. Why the Chitzonius? So I'm not sure. Chitzonius really means the transfer part between the lower and the upper. Ima Mochim Shebechem, and there are Mochim in there. V'socha Masara Hayin, so inside of those there are going to be 10 different Asara Hayin Achronos, the Asara, the Asara that are going to be he says there are 10 Hayin, final hays of the 10 Spheros, Havayos, the Partsufi Chagat, which are the 10 Havayos of the Partsufim of Chagat. Not sure what that, but Nikud, you do the Yud Spheros, and you'll see all the 10 Spheros come out that in the Kabbalah Shabbos, Shehay Nefashos, the Chayos, so Chayos, we know Chayos like part of the Neranchi. They are the lower element of light that comes from the Chayos, the Neshamos, the Ruchos. Okay, so this is going in outer space to me. The Neranchi, the Ruach, the Neshama, of the whole panoply of lights, of the light which is called Ruach, which is coming in the parts of, which is Neshama, or to the light of Neshama. So what is it? The Rantki, the whole light of the Ruach, that's part of the concept of Neshama, because inside of the Neshama there's an Rantki too. The Ma, the Ben. So it would be Ma, which would be the male part of Ma, and the male, and also male-female. And then he said, but ben the ma v'the ben, and then also the bens. So you're going right side, left side. You're bringing the mochin in from up above, from Yasos. V'alechem makifim asara hayin. So for these become a makif. The asara hayin achron is the asara. So he says hayin of the final hays of those 10 spheros that we're talking about. Then you have an ekya b'nikud sehem. L'hachan bagadati, the parts of Nai, the Chagat. So you go into the Nagi part, the Nai, because Chagat has a parts of, has a Chabad Chagat Nai. And so this would be the lower part. V'nikroyim pirkim titoyim the Lamed, the Tzelem the Yasas. Okay, so the pirkim, the Chagat would be represented by the Lamed. The Tzelem, the Yasas, the Ma, Ben, the Bina, the Kitzonius, the Zah. Now, it's a little, a little bit beyond me. I don't think I really managed this part so well. So let's just read the last part and we'll get an idea. This is all moving up. You're going to take the Malchus, the Nai, the Chagat, the Bina. Again, the lower parts of the lower section of the parts of called Chagat, which is that Chagat of Bina. The Ma'u Ben the Chitzonius, and it's going to keep going to the Chitzonius part. Im Chelkich on the Nefashos, Umakifehem, to with portions of those Nefashos, again, of that level of light. But also with the Nefashos, they also have apparently a Makif. And where's it going to go? It's going to go to the Chachan Bagadati, the parts of Nai, the Chagat Bina, to the parts of which is the second, the lower section, the Nai, of the parts of called Chagat, which is in the parts of called Bina. The Ma'u Ben the Chitzonius, and it goes to the Ma'u Ben the Chitzonius, the Yaakov Arachel. So that's showing you how it all goes downwards. And we'll finish up with these last two lines. It says, V'od Yikaven, V'gimel Boy. So that's another one. Boy is in number 13. What does 13 do? La'alos Hachan Bagadati, the Chabad the Yitzira. So now this is the final step. You're going to bring that Chabad Chagat Nai of the Chabad the Yitzira, which is the parts of on the top of Yitzira, and you're going to bring it the Hagad Bagadati, the Nai, the Bria, and that's going to be ultimately what you're going to do. And this is tracing us through using these 7 Margolin. Apparently has the ability to move the Nai to the Chagat, to the Chagat, to the Chabad, and then the Chabad itself into the Nai of Bria. Gimel Shemos Yud Aleph Yud, which is that number 13, which comes out of Sag. Sag is Olam Bria, I think. Yotzim Begimel Shemos Ma the Yitzira. They come from the 3 names of Ma the Yitzira. I'm not sure what this means. Just the right side. It means the male side. It's called Echad Gematria Yud Gimel Communion Boy. Okay, it's a little bit on the difficult side, some of it, but we're trying to trace it down. That's the shir today.